Hey, what's going on, guys? So the other day when I did my Garchomp Lucario deck, I started thinking about pretty much how easy this deck is to build, and to be honest with you, I think right now it's probably the best budget deck you could put together in the standard format. So today I got a Garchomp Lucario deck that is a complete budget deck. Now, before we really dive into this, I want to kind of explain how this is a budget deck. One, most of the cards are in a theme deck. Two, we don't play Tapu Lele. And three, except for like a few supporters in this deck, nothing is really too expensive, and these cards are so easy to get your hands on. And I'm going to kind of discuss the deck, what it does, and how it functions, and kind of go over the cards, talk about the prices a little bit, and give you guys kind of like an idea how much you're going to be paying, or I'm going to do my best. And then you guys can go on like websites, just like different ones, look up the cards and see what the best deals are. But yeah, let's get into the video, and don't worry guys, I'm going to be able to tell you where you can get most of these cards because it's actually very, very easy. So with the release of Ultra Prism, we got the Mock Strike theme deck. Now the Mock Strike theme deck is of course the one that features Garchomp. Now this is actually the first time in a good while that Pokemon has actually released a theme deck that I was like, wow, there's actual real strategy to this deck. Now they all generally kind of have their own thing going on, but for the most part this deck actually includes Garchomps, it includes a Lucario, it includes two Cynthia, and it includes Palpad, which is crucial for this deck. That's literally how this deck functions. So the first card we're going to take a look at is going to be Garchomp. Now Garchomp is going to be your main attacker of the deck. It is a one prize attacker, it's a stage 2, and believe it or not, with Lucario and rare candies and such, this is actually very easy to get out. It has the attack quick dive, 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then it has Royal Blaze, which is the attack we're really going to be focusing on right here. If you played Cynthia from your hand during this turn, this attack does 100 more damage. So if you played Cynthia, this attack turns into a 200 damage attack. And one of the easiest ways that we're going to be getting cards, period, is going to be through Lucario that has Precognitive Aura, if I said that word right. And basically what this does is while you have Garchomp in play, you may search your deck for a card and put it in your hand, then you shuffle your deck. So that means you can grab things like DCE, you can grab things like Cynthia, which is going to be the supporter that you're going to be using pretty much all the time with this deck, but we did include some supporters to help out. But Cynthia allows you to shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 6 cards. Now, this is actually pretty good. Believe it or not, Shauna didn't see much play. It kind of did. But Cynthia, it's the hype card right now. And Cynthia, like, when you buy them online and you like pay for 4 of them, it's gonna be roughly around right now how much like one of these theme decks is gonna be, give or take a few bucks. So instead of going out and buying 4 Cynthia, you can buy 2 theme decks, get an entire Garchomp line, and then you have extras to trade off. If you don't have these cards, you can try to trade people for the card you might be missing from this deck. And you get the Palpads, and you get the 4 Cynthia, and you're good to go. You get the energies and such, so that's actually not too bad. But basically the idea of this deck is to use Lucario's ability, search stuff out, play the Cynthia, and then you do 200 damage. And the best thing about this deck is the trade-off that it has. Basically, they're taking 1 prize from you, but you're dishing out so much damage, and for those big GX Pokemon that are so popular, you're going to be hitting them for a ton of damage. And then when they do knock you out, that is going to be 2 prizes for you, 1 prizes for them, and I think that's one of this deck's biggest strengths. So the lines we're going to be running is a 4-2-4 line of Garchomp, and then we're going to be running a 2-2 line, and if you actually want to thicken the Lucario line and make it a 3-3, that is definitely an option. And then we run 2 Vulpix. Now Vulpix is actually very good with this deck. It's actually very good with any stage 2 deck. And what we're going to be doing with this one is we're going to be using the attack beacon, which allows you to search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them in your hand. So depending on what your field is, let's say you have a Gibble on your field, or a couple Gibbles, a Gibble and a Riolu and a rare candy in your hand, you can use the beacon attack to grab a Lucario, and then grab a Garchomp, and then start using, you know, the pretty much the strategy of this deck, which is Precognitive Aura. And then maybe if you don't have something you necessarily need in your hand, you can Cynthia and hope to get it. And if you do miss, well, Garchomp has free retreat, so you can get it out of harm's way, and you're pretty much good to go there. Now, pretty much this is going to kind of be a sacrificial lamb, but we also run float stones in here, which can help out a lot. Alright, so after a little bit of a hiccup, we are back. My game crashed for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, so one of the things that Floatstone is going to help you out with is going to be also Lucario. And just really, just you don't want to commit too many energies to other things. You just pretty much want to attach them to Garchomp. And speaking of energy, DCE is absolutely crucial in this deck. So we included a special charge in this deck. This is going to allow you to shuffle 2 special energies from your discard pile back into your deck, so you can grab a couple of these DCEs here. Now DCE is actually a very cheap card. I think I saw you can get online, you can get like 4 of them for like $2 or something like that. So it's not too bad at all. And then Field Blower, this is another pretty cheap card. This is going to be in here because if you face off against Garbotoxin on Garbodor, which requires them to have a tool on their Garbodor and it shuts off all abilities except for Garbotoxin, you're going to pretty much be in a bad spot. So Field Blower is going to be able to discard that tool and pretty much just get rid of that. So that way you can use your Precognitive Aura. And so that'll help you out there. This is a pretty cheap card. Now, unlike most decks that usually run 3 Guzma, this deck only runs 1 because, like I said earlier, Cynthia is going to be the main supporter you're going to be using. And so we're only going to include 1 Guzma. Now, whenever you start talking about the supporters in this deck, like Bridget, like N, and Sycamore, these are going to be the more expensive cards you're probably going to be getting. But at the same time, these are cards that are included in every single deck, and they're pretty much staples. So whenever you do eventually, switch off of this deck and you decide you want to play something else, you can include these these cards in your decks and just kind of go forward. So your money will be going pretty much a long ways, and that's just really awesome. And you don't have to buy those big shiny full arts or nothing like that. That's not required. You can buy like the little straight up generic regular looking ones. That's pretty cool there. And I think that Sycamore actually isn't that bad. I think it's like $6 or $7 for 4 of them is what I was seeing on a site that I was looking on. N might be a little up there. N's pretty expensive, but granted, with Cynthia releasing, N is going to be dropping down, I think, for a while. With how many you play in a deck, so that's a good thing. Ultra Ball is another card that's actually really cheap. It's been reprinted so many times that like the price has gone down on it, and we're going to be running 4 of those. This card just allows you to discard 2 cards and search for a Pokemon, and it's just pretty much get your Pokemon line for you. Special Charge, I didn't really talk about this, is actually pretty cheap. Rare Candy I couldn't find too much on, but the card's been printed so many times that I don't imagine it's too expensive. And another thing is like if you go play at a card shop or something like that, they might have singles or the players there, could trade with you, help you out, figure it out. Like if you're brand new to the game, you'd be surprised with how like really cool this community is. There's a lot of bad apples, but I mean, there's always some bad apples in every basket. That old expression that old people say. But anywho, so yeah, I mean, there's some cool people still. Choice Band is another card that's actually not too bad. Price wise, it's a few bucks for 4 of them, I believe. This deck's going to be running 2, just that way you can hit 230. And then we've got Floatstone. I cannot remember how much this card is. The price kind of goes up and down sometimes with this one. But I'd say roughly this deck, like if you go buy the theme decks, like you go that route, basically I think the theme decks are towards 30-ish or something like that. And then the rest of the deck, like the commons and stuff, or like just the cards you got to get, like are roughly going to be like a few bucks a piece. And then you can actually even buy more copies if you want to kind of, run 2 special charge or something like that. But to give you guys a rough idea how much of this deck you're going to be getting in the theme deck, you're going to get the entire Garchomp line. You're going to get the entire Lucario line. You're going to get Pal Pads. You're going to get Rescue Stretchers. You're going to get Cynthia. You're going to get... and you're going to get the energy, and then pretty much the rest is on you. And these cards are very easy to find. They're very, like, this deck's pretty much very easy to build. As far as like an overall price, it will depend on what all you can find, but I would say you can probably pick this deck up if you luck out on some prices. It's definitely 110% under $100, like for sure. But I would say probably under 80, maybe, just depending on what you can find. But yeah, this deck is not going to break your bank, and if you just want something that's semi-competitive and something that's pretty easy to play and put together and build, I think that this would be the best route. So for a little bit of a recap, we're going to kind of discuss, the cards in here and why Pal Pad's so important. I just remembered I forgot that. Pal Pad is going to allow you to shuffle 2 supporter cards from your discard pile into your deck. So this is going to allow you to put your Cynthia back in your deck, and it's just really helpful because you could just keep hitting that 200. And the reason why Bridget's going to be in this deck is because, well, you get a really cool thing of like opening Bridget. You get like 2 Gibbles, a Riolu, or just something like that, or you can get like a Gibble, Riolu, Vulpix. You can just pretty much set your field up turn 1. And the reason why I went with like a kind of a higher count of it is because, of course, we don't run Tapu Lele in this deck. Now, if you want to go all out and play 4 of them, definitely go for it. If you want to maximize your, potential on getting this card, that's up to you. But yeah, I mean, it's just pretty simple. So basically with this deck overall, as a result, we got Garchomp that's going to be popping off 200. We've got Lucario that can search for any card to help you set up, and if you get 2 of them, that's 2 cards you get a turn from your deck. And then we've got Pal Pad here to help us shuffle our Cynthia back into our deck. And then we've got, of course, Cynthia herself, shuffle her hand into your deck and draw 6. And then we got some supporters here just to help you out. We got the 3-bit, or Bridget, almost said something horrible. We got the 3 Bridget here that can help you out, get your field set up. And, of course, we've got Guzma to bring up something. Maybe you couldn't hit it, or you just want to finish it off or something like that. Who knows? They might have something on their field that's kind of threatening, or you want to try to set up a knockout for later, just whatever the situation might call for. You've got In here just to help you out with some draw power too. And then you got Sycamore. This is still a really good card. I mean, granted, like pretty much like the main focus is going to be Cynthia, but these cards are just going to be in to help you out. Maybe you want to save your Cynthia. Maybe you can hit something and you don't have to use Cynthia. That's where these supporters are going to kind of come in, help you like kind of refresh your hand and keep that going. Choice Band is going to allow you to hit a little harder. You can hit those GX and EX Pokemon for an extra 30 damage. Floatstone is going to be very helpful. You can just throw this on a Pokemon, not Garchomp. I would not recommend that. But you can throw it on a Pokemon and it'll get free retreat, so you can bring it up, and if you need to use it as a sacrificial lamb or something, or maybe you start Vulpix and you don't need a beacon again, you can throw the Floatstone on Vulpix, retreat it, and start attacking with Garchomp. It just depends. And I don't really need to go over the energy count. We got the fighting energy here, so you can throw it on Garchomp to use its attack, and then DCE is in there, so that way you can speed up the process and you don't have to attach 3 energy. Now, this deck is pretty easy to play. You just got to keep in mind on what you have in your hand, what you have on your field. You got to pay attention to what you need out of your deck. And to be honest with you guys, if you do have a really slow start, you have these really cool Pokemon here to help you out, which is going to be Gibble with Ascension, and then we've got Gabite with Ascension. And what Ascension allows you to do is you search for the Pokemon that it evolves into and you play it down. So if you have a Gibble, you can Ascension, put down Gabite, and then you can use Gabite's Ascension to just pretty much go boom, there's Garchomp. Now, I know that people are not fond of this, but I mean, hey, it's better than nothing, and at least you're trying to set your field up. And the cool thing is there's another card you guys can include in this deck if you would like to, and that is Evo Soda. Evo Soda Ascension is actually a pretty solid combination. But nonetheless, I would recommend the Rare Candy route, just because that's a little more consistent. But I've gone over the deck, and I've actually got some clips of this deck, or like, well, I got some clips, but like this is like pretty much in the process of me testing this deck out, making it a little better. But you'll actually get to see how this deck operates, so that way you could actually see what the deck does and how it plays and everything. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and hope I helped you out. And if you did like the video, you know what to do. Destroy that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. It'd be much appreciated. And if there's any decks that you would like me to try to make a budget list for, I can definitely try my hardest to do that. But I think right now this is probably the best budget deck you can buy, or yeah, pretty much invest your money into. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the clips. Make sure to watch them over and over so that we fully understand the deck, and then just dive in, start playing Pokemon, do your thing, have some fun, enjoy yourselves, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
First I didn't think that I was cut enough to bleed. Then I saw my secrets getting swallowed by the sea. Through a telescope, I saw a diamond glow. How you brought me home, I guess I'll never know. With God as my witness, never had it so good. Jumping into love, fires at dry wood. Started off as nothing, now it's gold, and it's all on you.